Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Doc again. It's TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. Let's see what we're up to today. Can you hear me now? We saw some strength kicking in the Swiss. A little surprised, just a tad, because. Ooh. And so what we're looking at here is the dollar firming up again. Now it's a busy week. So we got the GDP this week. We got the Fed talking as usual. I'm sure they'll talk up the markets. Powell is under the microscope, our Fed chair, because he is up for reappointment. And so that'll put some chill into the game also. In other words, money is going to be free and happy and, the whole game as usual. Same old stuff, different day. There we are. All right, there's the fact check spreadsheet. Let's move that over. Oh, something just moved in the wrong way. Let's try this again. Right there, let's get the fact check spreadsheet moved over. There it is, right there. Let's close that. There's Chicago Quant. Move that up like so, right, or down like so, like that. That's pretty cool. And that's another one I'm a little surprised about, is a euro right there heading down. But let's jump over to the Chicago, or the Swiss franc at this point. The saltine, where are you, saltine? Dollar saltine pairs trade right there. And as you can see, it's trading in the 91.86 area. On the, let's see, where's it at on the quant? I think it's still up. Let's just check and see. There it is. Makes it a little bit clear. No, it's down a little bit now. It's doing a little, see that right there? A little yellow bar, so it's got a little pressure on it on the downside. Just like Chicago Quant has a little red bar. You can see this line has been dragging on top of what we like to call the three-dimensional zero line on the Chicago Quant. I'm sorry, not Chicago Quant, on the J4X. See the J4X here with the dotted lines. The white line and the dotted lines are just hanging right on the edge, just like the way our line is bouncing between the zero and the plus side. And this morning it's trying to climb up into the plus side again. So that constant pressure that's going on, markets don't know where they want to go and how they're going to do it. Hey David, how you doing? Good morning to you. What else can we say about that? I guess what it really comes down to is that it's going to be a busy week. Also, we're at the end of the earnings in the stock market here in the States. That also ignites things, makes things a little bit crazier than usual. And obviously, since it's going from quarter year over year, and sometimes quarter over quarter, you see a dip from quarter because things are kind of slowing in some aspects. But year over year, through the roof. I mean, the earnings and so forth are obviously, compared to last year, is way better. And so that's the action we're seeing here. Again, we have Powell, we have GDP this week. It's going to be noisy, and at the same time, lots of smokes and mirrors. A lot of smoke and mirrors. All right, let's drift over to, and if anybody has a question, just shout it out. We'll go right after it. We don't usually, we go through our rhythm because that's the way to keep things moving along and looking dynamic and live and smart. But overall, I'm glad to stop and take a look at anything out of the rhythm that we normally do. So what we do is from here, from the Swiss, we drift up to the euro. Let's see what the euro is doing this morning. Right there. That's on the edge. It's tried to get into the buy. You see here, it's just refusing. You can see we've been in a weekly sell for a while here, all under the zero line there. Is that showing up? Yeah, that shows up. You see the arrows. And so there's no real conviction, as I see it, in the euro. They just don't have any desire to really purchase it. I think Lagarde last week, I thought it was bottoming. Traders and markets like to take things down if they're going to buy them. Buy them low, sell them high. And in this case here, everybody was anticipating that Christine Lagarde, the head of the ECB, the good attorney as she is, was going to come out with some better, I don't know, stuff Powell does, talk about, platitudes of how they're going to take care of things and how things are going to be better and, how we're going to make it easier and so forth and so on. Instead, she just really didn't say anything at all, and that really disappointed even some of those old traders that still text me constantly for the last 3 decades. From the old trading floors, or 2 decades or whatever, 1 decade, I don't know. But in the end result is that they were disappointed. A few of them were. That they did not see her say something a little bit more positive instead of saying, okay, well, we're just going to keep on our policies. They really thought that she was going to roll out, like the way Draghi used to do. He was really good at it. Draghi would say stuff like, we're going to buy this, that, and the other thing. And the markets would get all excited. He'd never do it, of course, but he would at least say he was going to do it. Then they could go back to their investors and they could say, wow, look at Draghi. Draghi said he's going to do this. So I guess we got to purchase more or buy more or hold on to more or do something more. But she didn't excite anybody last week, and I think there was a disappointment to that. And maybe that's why we're seeing the euro not making that bounce. Like you would have thought that it was, we're in a weekly sell. You can see the weekly tried to turn up for it right there. You can see that the daily had its issues. Went into the sell the next day. It went into its buy. I guess we should move that down now. Get rid of that. The sell went right back into there, and we thought, okay, she's going to say something. They're taking it down. This way they can buy it. But no, the attorney came out on her, and she did her best to basically say nothing. I don't think Draghi was an attorney. Probably why. That's why he could say this, that, and the other thing constantly. All right, and so that's where we are with that. Now, in the same token, the Great British Pound, the GBP, against the dollar, went into the buy on Friday right there. Let's throw that up on there. Where's that? Right there. There we are. Went into the buy on Friday, gave us a volatility signal on Thursday, right here, the day before, and lifted up looking like, okay, you can buy it off the opening of the next bar, and sure enough, it was okay. It went down a little bit, gave you a little pressure, but when you're doing it in options and binaries, it's one thing. Obviously, you could not take that buy because why, traders? We're at a weekly sell still. See, right there. It's still in the weekly sell from the 140-ish area. So from up in here, that week right there, it went into the weekly sell. So basically, you're trapped in that neutral zone. You can't really get long, you can't get short, unless you're trading the synthetics. If you're trading the synthetics like binaries or options, you can get long because you're not going to get stopped out. But when you're trading a hard delta, you might buy and you might put a stop in like a good money manager would do, and the next thing you know, it's hitting your stop and bang, and you're out, and you're like, oh man, So there's a lot of reasoning behind that, So anyway, you can see here the daily's been trying to push up, but we're having issues with the weekly too. It's just not willing to do that. There you can see, since we've been in the weekly sell and the daily sell up in this area here that week, we put the line in at the end of each week when it does that stuff. So it's been there. It hesitates, goes up and touches it, falls down. Kind of tries, lower highs are developing and lower lows, not a good thing, of course. And here we are back to the 38, which we really thought that was where it was going to stop, and that would have been it. Oh, hey David, I am from Nambia, and it is afternoon here. Oh, cool. Good afternoon to you. Is this the first time you've been visiting our webinar? Is this like a new thing, or have you been watching and not talking, and this is the first time you talk? And are you comfortable with what you've been looking at and so forth? Do you need any explanations? We're really glad to explain how it all works, which opens the doorway for you to be able to figure out how you're going to use it. If you use it and you're using Dukascopy, it helps you use Dukascopy's work. We sit here and just pontificate that way. So Remember, I don't know if you've been watching. If you have not been watching, there are no stupid, no ridiculous, no shallow questions in money and trading. There are only long answers and short answers, but there are no childish, foolish, stupid, whatever you want to call it, and you're worried why you're not asking a question. It's because, as far as we're concerned, we will go after any question anybody asks. So don't be afraid. It's okay, all right? We work at that. We have people that watch for months upon months, and then they slowly join in after a while. Then they get comfortable and they just watch through the videos unless they need something, and then they all appear out of nowhere. It's always funny like that. So it's, when you're dealing with money and trading, it's well worth asking a question or two. Okay, where do we go from here? Let's see. So there's the cable. And what's next here? Let's go and look at the Turkish lira. There's right there. That's been kind of fascinating. Oh, look at the weekly jumping up. I wonder what it looks like on the euro against the Turkish lira. That's a nice big jump. This has been really, slow, steady, sloppy trading under those yellow dotted dots. We've been waiting for it to trade up to that area. It's hit it a couple times and stopped. And let's take a look at it in the euro against it. Right there. Well, it's making an attempt too, but not that strong an attempt compared to the dollar. You see here, it went into the weekly sell in the euro against the Turkish lira weeks beforehand. We're 4 full weeks now in a sell, whereas I think we're only 2 weeks in the dollar Turkish lira. Yeah, 2 weeks. So that is the action we're seeing here. Turkish lira has been very fascinating in the sense of watching it. Obviously, I would not want to be trapped in it, because it's been a product that's really had some issues, President Erdogan / former Prime Minister Erdogan, the policies he has made the currency move kind of tough. In other words, it's gone from 1.5 since he was Prime Minister. Now that he's President, it's gone up to 8.5 or 9 or something like that. So, it's ugly. But that's why we show it, because there's probably people out there that need that help to have some of the best data they can get to understand where their currency is going. All right, heading over to, let's see, from there we go to the Canadian. There's the Canadian. You see it's been in a weekly buy since back here. The daily, goes into a sell. And the way it works here is when you're in a weekly buy, you do not, and you go into a daily sell, you don't short it. You can take some profits, or you might be already out, so you do nothing. You wait for the next daily buy again. You get another daily buy, there's your win. And then when you get a sell, you don't take it. And then another daily buy there, another win. There's 3 wins in a row, and then another one here. 4 wins in a row. Now we are flirting as we speak with another daily buy. If it closes there tonight, you can be long it again. And that's how that works. It's very simple. When we're in a weekly sell, you take the sells, but you don't take the daily buys. And unless you're trading the derivatives, like the options or the binaries, then you're trading the spot or the hard, the futures contract or something like that. That's how you have to stay on the right side of profits. That's the way you play it. All right, and what else is Canadian trying to tell us at the moment? Usually we go to the energy complex, because the Canadian seems to be some type of pairs trade that watches that, because of the size of the country and the amount of, when I say size, the population of the country, and the amount of assets it has, and also location. It's a pretty peaceful location. So, they don't have like New York State is not firing rockets into Canada for the fun of it. Just at Toronto, like the way they do that over in Israel and the Middle East, where the countries like to fire rockets at Israel just for the fun of it, and it happens, I guess, in a couple other places too. but it's Canada doesn't have that worry that New York State and say Michigan might just, well, what the heck of it, let's float some air balloon fire explosions over the crops of Canada just for the fun of it. So that's what's going on there. Ooh, what do we got here? Olympic news. South African Chad Lacrosse finished 16th in men's 200 butterfly. Okay, good for him. And obviously eliminated from the heats there. All right. Usually they take the top 8, the 2 top 8, and I guess somehow or another he got bumped. All right. So there we are with the Canadian. So what we do now is we jump over to crude oil, and we do look at metals too because they have a lot of gold up there too. And there is crude oil. You see it's firm. Normally when the Canadian is going up, we usually see oil going down, and you see in this case here for the last 3 days it's been sideways. Same token, we've been in a buy now since back in late May in the 60s area in oil. And let's see, where did we go into the sell in Canada? Let's go back to the Canada. And we went into the buy there in the first weeks of June. So it joined in there. Look at that flat. We had a rectangle there representing the flatness of Canadian. When we were watching oil go into the weekly buy, we were wondering, when is this thing going to take off in the opposite direction? It took a couple weeks, but they finally did it. Let's see, what else can we say? I guess that's about it. From there, we can go take a look at the gold. I think it's playing with the daily gold buy today. Gold's playing with the daily buy. Let's see, but not the weekly. And there it is there. Yes, it's flirting with it as we speak. Right there, just touching. It's chinny chin chin. This morning, it was higher when we sent our chart out. It looked much bigger. But you can see here, gold has been in a sell since, let's see, this contract switched, but since the beginning of this, or the middle of this week, right up in here, it went into the sell in the 1850s area. And that was back in the June contract, I think it was. We went into the sell on a daily, I guess it was like a day before, like right there, and it caught the slide back then. This is the August contract, so it kind of sometimes looks a little sloppier. Back months, as they like to call it, the contango. And so then what we see here is, it goes into the sell again here, but we're in a weekly sell, and so it goes sideways down, a little up, no real good clean action. It flirts, and it's been in a sell all since then. I mean, it's been hugging this 1800 line like white on rice. Like it just refuses to change. It just battles it, and we have traders in here that are keeping an eye on this. They're waiting for us to get into the weekly buy so they can join in on the move on the upside. And instead, you're getting this rectangle. Matter of fact, it almost looks, it's absurd, but it actually looks like a head and shoulders. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, we can't get into a buy. It's trying to do something. It's stuck in a daily sell for, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 days. Going on a 17th day? Is it really that much? Yeah. No. On the fact check spreadsheet it says 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somewhere along the line it must have thrown it into a buy. And that might have, and this was plus, and then the next day it didn't, and we just pushed it right back into the sell on the fact check spreadsheet. So I guess that might be 12 from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 9. Somewhere in there, it showed a buy, or I have the number. Maybe it should be 17 and not 12 on the fact check spreadsheet, which is what that Excel spreadsheet is telling you. When you go over and look at that, there's that right there. There's gold. So it's been 7 weeks in a sell. That's what that is. See right there, WS right there. 7 weeks in a sell, and then it's been 12 days in a daily sell. But it should be 17. According to that chart. So why don't we fix that? I don't think anybody's even asked. I haven't paid attention. Everybody's just waiting for the weekly to go into a weekly so they can get long. let's see, 17. There it is. No, that's 19. Let's make it 17. Right there? Yeah, that's 17. All right, let's do that. And let's save that. Maybe today's the day it finds a way to get into a daily buy. Who knows? Just because we fixed it right and save. There we are. So it shouldn't have been 12. It should be, whoa, where'd you go? Let's put that back up. There we are. And so that's the action that we are seeing in the gold. Now, over in silver, you can see on the fact check spreadsheet, that is line, was that like 8 or 9 or 7? 9. Yeah, 11 weeks in a sell on silver and 2 days in a buy. So at least silver has been able to climb up, but it's still having its issues on that weekly thing. That thing it does right there. And like I said, I got traders in the webinar here that are constantly staring at that weekly, waiting for it to jump. Matter of fact, we've even gone to gas 5 on the weekly, besides the gas line 5. Now we're keeping a sharp eye. When that green line takes out the second time manifold like it did there, that's usually a sign that there's some buying coming in, just like it did it there for 3 days, as it did it here for a couple of days. But they couldn't even get green dots going. It was very poor bounces, but it was bounce. You know, this is very sensitive. We like that, but people seem to enjoy more the gas line 5, solely because the green line, it's simpler. You can see it goes through the 0 line, whereas here the interpretation, people get a little confused by it. So that's the action we see here. Silver trying on its 3rd day in a buy. I sound like Captain T. Kirk. Trying. What if June? Yeah, so at this point in time, you just see this strength here. But we can't get the weekly to dance its way up into the, and you look at this, it's starting to get pretty far up. And what's this thing going to do? Choke us and then roll over again on a weekly? It could. You know, the Fed chairman, I said this at the beginning of this webinar, the Fed chairman is up for reappointment. I don't think he's going to change his policies when he could be losing his 4-year job if he changes his policies. So you would have to assume that the course that everything is on is going to stay on that course until he gets his appointment. If he survives, who knows? I myself keep on, I remember, what was it? I kept on thinking that they're going to put Blinder in finally as chair. I mean, you got Bernie Sanders and the socialists running the administration right now. So at this point, Blinder is the big guy at Princeton for the last 4 decades, 5 decades, 5 decades, and he was it Clinton? I think Clinton made him vice chair, or Obama made him vice chair. But he could not get in there as chair because the Republicans weren't going to put a socialist in as. It's bad enough Yellen's a socialist and she's in there now, but I keep on thinking Blinder's going to come in as chairman. So, and he's got the Ivy League socialist credentials to do it, and he runs Princeton's economics department with a tight grip for decades upon decades, since the 80s, since the 1980s, yeah. And of course, the socialists have got all these old people running things, so that's the way it goes with them. They're supposedly hip and into things, but somehow or another they have all these old people running things with crazy old ideas. I love that when they said, if only Joe Stalin had had computers, he could have made socialism work so much better. Yeah, how many more would have been dead? That would have been interesting. Let's see. Oh, that's a nice statement, Robin. Cool. Let's see. I'm surprised Middle Age is not in here. I mean, I saved the coffee for them. Let me just go to look at the coffee. I want to see if it's ticking yet. Ticking. Let's see, where is it at? Oh, I got it off screen at the moment. Okay, good. Let me see if coffee is actually making another. Oh, is that right? Yeah, look at it. Here you go, Robin. Can you see the screen? Check this out. Here's coffee. That's today. Yo, mama. Look at that moonshot. Zoom to the moon, Alice. We've been in a buy in that thing since like the cows came home. since they came back to the milking parlor. Where is it? Let's see how many weeks that thing's been in a buy. We don't even have that on the spreadsheet. There it is. We've been in a weekly buy since back here, back in the high 30s. Now it's trading, what is today? 58.48. This thing has almost doubled since we went into a weekly buy. My God. This thing is a rampage. That's coffee ole. Traders, if you drink coffee, buy it now before it starts to get really, really expensive. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, over in the silver universe and the gold universe, they're having their issues. Now, what's interesting is copper jumped into the weekly buy yesterday, or on Friday that is, right there, after being in a weekly sell from this area, back in, what is that, 6.3. What's 6.3? So that's June 2nd and the end of May. It went into the sell up in the 450, 460 area, 470 area, 471 in this area. Went into a weekly sell, and we always put the mark at the end of that week. So then it went down, dropped about 40 cents, and now we went into the daily buy. What was that, 4 days ago? And now we joined it on Friday, somewhere in the middle. We see we were in a weekly buy unofficially right there for a couple of days. And now, wow, they're just going after it again. So that metal knows how to go up. Let's see, was that $3 plus? Here we come. Yeah, $3. Oh, that's right. Robin was saying that to me this morning. That coffee's probably heading in that direction. I wonder if Dukascopy has coffee on there. They have a couple of the commodities on there. Let's see. Let's go take a look and see. Like they have natural gas, and they have a couple interesting products on the commodity side. They have soybeans. There's soybeans. Look at that, pushing down. Let's see what else. Deluxe Euro. Let's see, anything else? What is that? Natural gas. That must be like, is that natural gas? I guess out of Britain. There's Bitcoin. Oh, check out Bitcoin. Look at that spike this morning. We had somebody that used to do webinars for Dukascopy, Wilco. He's very active in that. I sent him a warning on Friday, I think it was. Because we went into a daily buy. You can see it on our work. We're even threatening after, check this out. I guess it's like back here, down at the bottom of the spreadsheet. Bitcoin, 16 weeks in a weekly sell, and 4 days in a daily buy. And I was saying to them, it's looking pretty runnish. And then sure enough, is this which was it? Yeah, I have it on this one. Check this out. There's the Bitcoin. There is the July contract. Zoom, baby, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I think it tried to go into a buy there, really. So it's like 2, 4, this will be the 6th day, not the 5th day. But you can see the weekly has had its issues, but it's catching up. It threw itself cleanly through the weekly number already, right? I mean, like, bang, it's there. Those cryptos might get some life into them again. And I saw that job offer too on my LinkedIn. I was laughing at it, that they were looking for somebody that understood cryptos. The Amazon over the weekend put out I belong to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has all kinds of strange messages. Jobs and medical science and physics, and it has all kinds of things. And the job one, I saw that where it said, due to the fact of my background, I get hit with the jobs in the financial universe all the time, from BlackRock and Goldman Sachs, and Amazon was looking for somebody that was experienced in cryptocurrencies. I saw that they sent that to me. Didn't think too much of it at the time, but obviously, the markets today are crediting this whole move into Bitcoin is because Amazon's looking to bring in somebody that understands cryptocurrencies. So they're thinking the feel is that Amazon may start using cryptocurrencies as a currency. Cryptocurrencies? I don't even think of it. I never even think of this stuff as a currency. I think of it as an asset. It's like, I know that gold is like a currency, but I kind of still look at it as an asset. I don't look at it as a currency. So that is that, and that's why we're seeing the strength in that. So now where do we go from here? Let's jump over to, that was Bitcoin just for the fun of it. That was the metals complex. Take a look at platinum. Let's see what platinum's doing, since no one's asking any questions. I'll go through a lot of this myself. So it's been hanging in the $1,066 area. And gold's what, at the $1,800 area? Let's see where it's at, like 1807. Let's put it up on Dukascopy. There it is on J4X. Right there. 1802. So 1,066 minus 1,800 is 734. So we're just hanging around the $700 area, really, when it comes to the pairs trade. What else can we say about the metal side of this and the crypto side of it? Because I always think of the reason why cryptos have any validity is because the Federal Reserve and the central banks are messing with the metals market. And so because of that, money has driven themselves into the cryptos, which makes total sense to me. I mean, if the Federal Reserve is going to turn metals into a paper product, in other words, not deliver, but just treat it like a paper trading product, then why not cryptos? It's the same game, just a different, policy, different product. Makes total sense to me, and that's how I see that. Okay, so that's the metals complex. What's next that we can take a look at? Usually from here we go over to like the yen. Oh, we look at the South African rand. But since former President Zuma is got the country in all of the tizzy, he's out there with his people doing evil things. I think they're shooting at. They keep on finding all these people dead all over the place, and they had to put the troops out there. So let's go over to the South African rand and see what it's doing here. Zuma keeps on refusing to go to court. They have subpoenas out for him, and his supporters are basically, it's basically a civil war between the ANC and the ANC, the African National Congress, against the African National Congress of Zuma. So that's what that's all about. Now there is the South African rand. It's losing value. It's going up. That could be more of Mr. Zuma's situation, where he's forcing the country into a civil war. And they've deployed over 25,000 troops now up in Swaziland or something like that, or where the Zulu nation is, Zululand. I think it's Swaziland. And the Zulu nation, people don't know that in South Africa that the Zulus had a 1-to-1 voting right also, because they were indigenous. The Zulus, that's their land and area where the Europeans settled. And so after coming to some conclusion of all the fighting, back in the 18s or 1900s, and no, I guess it was the 1800s, 19th century, the Zulus were part of South Africa, so they were not part of apartheid. Zulus were South Africans, and so they had a full vote. And so the people who had part of apartheid were people who were illegal aliens, basically. That's what it came down to. But you will not hear that from many people, because they want to think of it as just flat-out racism, which it was not. Unfortunately, there's always going to be bad players no matter what side you're on. But so the Zulus are fighting Mr. Zuma right now. So over in Durban and in the Zulu Nation region, they're battling with Zuma. So the South African troops are now over there. I mean, they said there's a highway or two where they found hundreds of bodies just dead on the road. You know, Zuma's people are fighting pretty hard because the court system is trying to subpoena him and bring him into court because he has been known to kill people. And he was one of the fellows that was locked up with Mr. Mandela, but he was one of the more violent, nastier ones, I guess. I guess that's how that plays out in the end. And so he was president, and now that he's not president anymore of South Africa, the next following president came in to basically clean up some of the things he had done, I guess. And so they've been subpoenaing him, and they tried to arrest him, and so his followers are rebelling against that idea. And so that's why the currency is probably lifting. Usually the currency follows the gold market. I mean, you can see here it's rising up, and gold is flat out sideways, right? Where's it at? Let's go back to gold. Right, where's the gold? There's the gold right there. You can see it's gold is sideways, and that's what's going on there. But when you look at, let's look at the South African rand on the J4X, like we just did on Chicago Quant, right there. And you can see this is going to have a upwardly bias. See, like that. So that's not normal. That should be flat to going down. So obviously it's Mr. Zuma and his followers are shaking the tree. All right, now where do we go from here? We go, hey, Moses, how you doing? What's happening? TGIM, thank goodness it's Monday. So now, let's take a look at where we go from here. Oh yeah, so we were looking at gold and silver and so forth. We see the South African rand, moving up when it shouldn't be. So obviously the country has a lot more issues. That pair's trade is not matching the normal metals market. Now we'll take a look at we jump over to there from I think we go to the yen. Let's see what the yen is up to today. The yen should be heading up because the dollar is firm. And it is. You can see it's in a daily buy now for 2, 3, 4, a fifth day. But look at that. This week it's trying to go into the sell side. I think it was, I forget who it was. Someone around here was it you, Moses? Someone was following the yen. They want to get a position on in it. I forget who it was. They're trying to get into a position. Maybe it was Elise, or let me think, who else could it be? It was, I'll remember sooner or later. Someone was looking to get into the dollar yen once it went into a weekly. So it's just starting to participate, so it's just a binary trade at the moment. But, before you know it, it will be a hard delta trade. Yep. So it's just an option binary trade at this point. All right, now let's drift over to the ruble. There we are there. You see the pressure on that. It's been a daily sell since here. But look at it. You can't take the shorts because of why, traders? Look at that. The weekly has firmed up after this move here. It jumped into the buy right around this area here, confirmed it on the close of that week, and it hasn't gone anywhere since. It's just hanging around right now. The ruble's just hanging with the homies. Rolling with the homies. And that's pretty much what the ruble's been doing. What's after the ruble? We usually take a look at it. See, so we did ruble, yen. Oh, we do Mexican peso. Let's go to the Mexican peso. We drift around into some of the other products. And if you out there, any one of you, would like to see something, just type it in on the chat line. You don't have to talk to us. I won't pester you. I'll just look at whatever you're interested in seeing. So there, I was looking for this hump to be a little bit bigger, but again, we were in a weekly sell, so couldn't get much. I mean, the line was below, so it was starved for energy. But you can see here, look at that. It went into the weekly sell last week, and it's already flirting with a weekly buy. So maybe, maybe we're going to see that move up that we thought we were going to see from that action. And if this will jump through the daily buy, we might get back up into this area here, like the 20 and a quarter, 20 and a half. Or no, 20 and a half, I guess it is. Right up in here. It's not, this product is very docile at the moment. They're doing a fine job in Mexico. They're doing something very positive economically, I can tell you that much. Let's change that so you can see it. Right there. So you can see we're flirting with that weekly buy. And we're in daily sell, so it's still stuck in that neutral stuff. And it's a short right now. So what you did is you might have come in today in a short, and it gave you barely a profit, and now you are losing money. See, once in a while we got to be wrong. And then what we'll do is we'll see if it closes in a daily buy today, and obviously your money management skills should be saying, okay, I'm going to cover since it's above the weekly number at the moment. Maybe I should just cover it and take the teeny weeny little loss and then wait to see if it will do the other side of it, and then all of a sudden I'll be a long player in this product. That's how it all works around here, traders. Alrighty, so there's the Mexican peso. So let me just go through the list in my head again. We did see the yen, the ruble, the South African rand, and the Mexican peso. Okay, so we're done that. We don't usually chase after any other particular currency unless someone asks. So now what we'll do is we'll go through where do we go from here? Usually, we'll look at like gold and oil, and we've done that, and silver, and we've looked at the metals complex. And so, we could take a look at natural gas. There's something that's been pretty exciting. Look at nat gas. It's in like a rampage mode. You don't even see the weekly buy. Look where it's at. Back in April, this thing is in the weekly buy. Look at that. This thing's in a rampage mode. It's gone from like the one, is it one? No, the twos. It's gone from the two, what is that? 270, 280. It's gone into a rampage. And boy, not only did you get a chicken dinner, you ended up with a chicken coop with a bunch of chickens. You could have chicken dinners for the next 3 weeks from that thing. We've been in a weekly buy, and that was the daily buy. Now we are flirting through, where are we at now? Today's high is 418, almost 419. Yow. It's been in a weekly buy since the 280s. This thing's blowing to the sky like a rocket. It looks like an Elon Musk rocket or a Mr. Bezos rocket, Blue Horizon, or maybe Virgin Air. So, and then there's Starlink that's coming up next. Starlink looks really good. It's through its 8th test or something like that. I think Starlink is the Boeing rocket. They call it the moon rocket. They want to use it. They're trying to sell it to go to the moon as a very good vehicle. All right, so that's where we are. I just thought that was well worth looking at. And if anybody wants to see anything, just shout it out. We will go chase it down. Let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, we go to stock indices and see what they're doing here. Let's do a quick view of where they are at the moment. Is that it right there? No, that's not it. Is that it right there? That's it right there. There we are. Now we can see here the Dow Jones Industrial Average is only down 81 points. It was down 300 points at the London Open this morning, at the Swiss Open, at the Frankfurt Open. The NASDAQ, or known on Dukascopy as the Tech 100, and Europe known as the Tech 100, down 27. And let's see if we can show you where that was at the London Open. That was kind of a little bit sloppier, but it was down at the opening I guess the first half hour, they took it down to 15,040, something like that. Is that what that was? Right around there. 38. And now it's trading at 1562. So it's moving back up, but it's not getting as much of strength. But see, it's minus 29, which is a lot compared to the 81 on the Dow. And then let's take a look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is down 8 points. We're seeing a little selling in here today. And it had drifted this morning towards the London Open or the Swiss Open or Frankfurt Open or Milan Open, down to 375, 4,375. And right now it's trading at 4,395. So it's rallied back up 21 points. This thing was down 30 points. You can't sell this market because they will come in and buy it. They just not letting this down. They will not let this market go down. You know, the government policy is keep it up and firm, and when it sells, buy it. And so that's where we are at the moment. Now, that's the S&P 500. That's, you know, we've seen the NASDAQ or Tech 100, and there's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So you can see just on an intraday basis. That's what that is, the intraday. Now we'll go take a look at the daily and weeklies of them. So there is the NASDAQ 100 or Tech 100. It has been in a weekly buy for 2, 4, 6, 7 full weeks. It's gone from 14,000 to 15,000 in the 4 weeks. It was in a daily buy now for 4 full days. Zippity doo-dah over to the S&P 500. Which I call the global index because almost 50% of the stocks in it, of the 500 stocks in it, are foreign companies. And the other 50% are American companies. So it's truly a global index. And you can see here, that's been in a weekly buy since June 25th from the 4,300 area. And now it's trading in the 4,390-ish area, 96 area, almost. Went to, no, I don't think it went to 4 even. What's the high today? Yeah, 4,400 is the high today. Okay, so that's gone up pretty well also during this whole adventure. And then we take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. And as you can see there, that's been in a weekly buy for just 2 full weeks. And it has gone from the, what is that, like the 3,900 or 600 area, 700 area, to the 34, what, is that 1,000 points? I guess that is. So 33.7, 8, you want to call it, to the, with a low of 6, is now 34,800 and change, almost 900. So it's gone up over 1,000 points in just the last 2 full weeks. Not even 2 weeks. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, but it's 2 weeks. You know, because there's only 5 trading days in a week. Excuse me. So that's the action we're seeing in the granddaddy of them all, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, who, by the way, have 6 of the NASDAQ or the Tech 100 stocks in it. That's right. So it's not solely the New York Stock Exchange anymore that it's watching. It's watching the Dow Jones Industrial Average, watches the NASDAQ stocks at the same time and participates with them. That was a marketing tool of the New York Stock Exchange for over 100 years. You know, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you know, Dow Jones Transports, which was at one time back in the 1850s, 1860s, I guess it was something like that, 1870s, was the train index. Then the train index slowly became the transport index because, you know, vehicles were created, and I guess there was some shipping in there, maybe boats, that type of thing. And then as time went on, you know, when vehicles and trucks were created, then they stuck trucks in there with trains, and then airplanes got in there as the transportation sector grew. And then the Dow Jones Industrial Average became the much more powerful. But at one point, it was the train index that really had this thing going. That was the lead product for the New York Stock Exchange at the time. Now, let's see. So that's that. And then last but not least, the thing that has taken over the position of the I guess you could say the most speculative of the indices is the Russell 2000. And that is that right there. You see it's way off its all-time highs, which is up in here. Let's tighten that up more so you can see it. There's the all-time highs right in there, in the 2,350-ish area. And you can see it's dropped down to 2,100, and now it's trading at 2,210. So it's not participating. The most speculative stocks are not, I repeat, are not being bought. They're instead buying the established companies, the Dow, the big, the IBMs and the Amazons and the Apple Computer and the Intel chip manufacturer and the Microsoft software people and the Google search engine and so forth and so on. And then it has its sprinkles of ExxonMobil or Chevron or things like that. The oil sector. All right, and just for FYI, the Tesla is in the Tech 100, just like Microsoft is in there, and Intel and so forth. All righty, now where do we go from here, traders? Anybody see anything they'd like to see? Because we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. So, I mean, here's your last shot at taking a peek at something you might want to see. Have any curiosity about a product you've been staring at and you just don't know when to jump? Just give us a shout. I'm going to look at lumber. There's lumber. I want to see what lumber's doing. I think it's dropped 50%, right? Yeah. It dropped more than 50%. It dropped 70 some odd percent because this product went up to the $1,600 area and now it's trading in the $641 area. So that's always fun to look at. We've been in a sell since that $1,500 or $1,600 area. You can see here, this is the November contract. It went up to 1,600, and this only went up to a little about 1,400. So it was about $200 difference in the contango, because that was a front month that took it up to the $1,600 area. So this thing went into the sell in our work in the around the $1,100 area up in here. That's 1,200 right there, and it had gotten as high as 14. So we've watched this product drop 50% since we've gone into a weekly sell. That's cool, huh? And there's middle age. Hey, can't see, Doc. I thought you'd show up. Did you see Robin was trying to, Robin was telling me about, he used to, I told you that last week, he used to write about the softs. So he's convinced that it's going through the moon. Through the moon. Turn your product into a binary, if nothing else. And here is, there's the lumber. And then check this out. Check out the coffee. I don't know if you saw the coffee when I put it up before. Oh, here you go. Deck wheat. You want to see deck wheat? Sure. Where is deck wheat? Let's see. Deck wheat. Right here. Deck wheat. There it is. Right there. Deck wheat. And it's showing, it tried to, no, what did it do? This is, deck wheat. That's live cattle deck. Sorry about that. We'll get there. Deck wheat. There is, where's deck wheat? There's sep wheat. Where's deck wheat? There's sep wheat. Where did my deck wheat go? I thought we had deck wheat in here. Where is it? Deck wheat. I'm going to put it in there. I thought we had, I guess we had people watching it. They don't watch it anymore. I could have sworn I saved it. It's got to be in here somewhere. There's deck corn. There's deck bean oil. There's September September corn. Which wheat am I following? I'm watching SEP wheat. Okay. Now let's go find deck wheat, because I have a icon for it. Let's find that. Where's my deck wheat? I'm confused. Let me just double check something. It'll come up on the screen. You'll see what I'm looking at. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't have that deck wheat anymore. That's deck cattle. Where's deck wheat? Deck wheat. Deck wheat. I guess we don't have deck wheat. I thought we had deck wheat. Let's add one for you. Let's see, coffee on the steroids. Yeah, I know. Robin's been saying it over and over. You've been saying you're never going to give up on it, you know, until we get a weekly sell, the whole bit. Let me show you that while I'm hunting down the other thing. While I'm doing that, let me go there and find it. I don't think we have deck wheat on there. I thought we did at one time. Let's get the there it is right there. And you can see the stock indices are still rallying up even more now. There's your coffee. Look at that. That thing is just ripping through the roof. Now while we say that, let me pull this down and put deck wheat in there. So let's go. There's SEP wheat. All right, so let's go find deck wheat. Make a copy of that. Copy window, paste window, and let's put that in. Copy that. Hit OK. Now, format. We got plenty of time. I can easily get the deck wheat up in here. I know I have it in there. We had somebody, didn't we, Robin? Didn't we have somebody following deck wheat? ZW. Yeah, there it is right there. I know it's in the inventory, but I guess we're just not following it right now for them. Was that Doc? Was it Doc that was chasing after that for a while? I think that's what it was, right? It was Doc. He was watching deck wheat for a really short period of time. Okay, there it is. All right, here it is coming up on the screen right now. Let's put that up there. There it is. There's deck wheat. And paste. And just change that to deck. D-E-C. Deck. Not with a T at the end. There we are. Let's save that. Save workspace. There we are. Now it's been in a daily sell from here, but it's been in a weekly buy now, 2 full weeks. So you can't take that short. You only can be hedged. That's it. Unless you're doing the options, of course. You can see here, it was in a weekly sell from, I guess it was like the $7 area. I went down to the 620, went into that daily buy. The weekly joined in that week, and it took off. And you made that, you know, the winner chicken dinner. And now it got you out at the top at 720, and it's showing weakness there. Let's see, what does Mill Age say? Can you see that? Oh, you could. I thought for a minute I screwed that up too. Let's see, coffee is freezing. Yeah, that's what Robin was saying. Yeah, that is Robin. Robin's been saying that to me. Let's see. Okay, coffee's freezing. Another freeze expected this week. Ow! Well, we had a kill shot about a week and a half ago and just missed the Earth from the sun. So it went into the other direction of the solar system. But if it had hit us, we'd have been in the Bronze Age. Let's see. Looking to maybe buy some deck calls in wheat when the daily crosses back to positive. I hear you there. I hear you there. It's trying. I've been impressed that deck wheat got going. Just wheat in general, because wheat, out of all the 3 grains, it was dragging for a long while. Just a long while. It was not participating. It was like 6 weeks in a sell when we had corn in a weekly buy and soybeans in a weekly buy. You know, that type of thing. And then, you know, everybody's harvesting new wheat now. And what's fascinating is that new wheat is being harvested, and what are they doing? They're taking it up. It's the same thing that happened to July corn, old crop corn. Old crop corn went flying through the roof on the last expiration day of the futures contract. So it's all holding up here, you know. And we always look at these things as like quasi currencies. Anything denominated in dollars, you can basically hide your long in the dollar by being long them, and then going doing the options and put binaries around it to protect your long. And this way, you're basically, if you're in a foreign currency, you're basically short dollars until you buy the dollars to pay for it. So it's a way of like shorting the dollar without the central banks being all over you complaining that you're shorting the dollar, you know. They're really nasty nowadays. You know, if you don't do what they want, they don't give you overnight money for free. So they kind of force you to trade a certain way, you know. Yeah, there it is. And that's what's going on with the deck wheat. Whereas you can see here, November beans, which is the lead crop, is in a weekly buy, but they've been doing the same thing. They've been taking profits in it. So it's in a weekly buy and daily sells for like 4 days, and it's been going down on the short term. And same thing with deck corn. There's deck corn. You know, deck corn in a weekly buy also for 2 weeks. Look at the way the deck corn weekly is taking off this week. And it's doing the same thing. It did that. We went into the sell here. It went up for 2 days on us. And so you can't take that short because it's in a weekly buy. So you're watching it go up and with red dots, and you can't take the short. I mean, you can't take the long either at the same time. You're like, what the? What is this foolishness? But that's the way it goes, because look what it does. It tells you the truth. The math wicks up, tells you what's going to happen in the future. And sure enough, we go down, even with it being in a weekly buy. So they're just trying to reset their position. Who knows how many people got trapped in that old crop situation where it went from 6, what was it, Robin? Robin and I were watching it that day. It went from like 670, traded up to 748 for the expiration day itself. It was like watching that crazy day where oil went minus. You know, in other words, they had to buy the contracts that were short because they couldn't deliver. So they had to step up and take a hit. Take it in the chin, as we used to say. Or take it in the back with a knife. Let's see. Middle Age says, which you like better, wheat or beans for long, Doc? That's a good question. Well, we have a little bit more to look at when it comes to the beans, because look at bean oil. Bean oil is it's been in a weekly buy for a couple of weeks, and now the bean oil is starting to take off again. Whereas bean meal, right here, is flirting with a weekly buy. That's what caught my eye today, but it's still in a daily sell. So beans might be, let's take a look at the bean contract itself. The bean contract itself is in a daily sell. If it gets into a daily buy, you might want to buy beans instead. I mean, if they've taken old crop and new crops and they've run them. So what's stopping them from taking beans and driving them into the 15s? I mean, the old crop beans, I think they went out at 16. And we were like $1.50 to $2 discount, you know, the contango on the back month. Now we're watching the back month every day. And we've got, oh man, I'm telling you, the bean crop around here looks fantastic. We got great canopy going on. I mean, it's looking, you know, it's looking really good. Let's see, what's this? Middle Age says, both weekly quants look strong. They do. They really do. And that's what, beans, yeah, look at that. And it's, you know, it's also done, it's done that crazy capitulation stuff. Let me get the mouse here. Notice, I think we're past we're 4 minutes over. But if anybody, let me just check Dukascopy, because no one follows me. So I can get away with doing more talk. Let's see. Yep, no one's complaining. So, you can see here that the beans have gone through that weekly buy, weekly sell, weekly buy again. So they, you know, they didn't know what it wanted to do. Now corn, I think, did the same exact thing. Yeah, it did it even longer. So you went buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. Now, does that mean that this is the last buy for a while and we're going to see these things go running up? Either way, I think, you're right. Playing with the call side of this might be a real fun thing. It might emulate your oil situation. Not oil, what am I saying, oil? Coffee situation. You know, where it starts to take off. This could be it. I don't know. I mean, look, the old averages and the old characteristics have really drifted since quantitative easing. So in other words, you're in a situation now where people will step up and buy these products. Let's see. I'm just checking Dukascopy, making sure that they don't need the broadcast. Oh wait a minute. Here we go. What's Janos just said that. There's a comment under this. Oh, okay. Check this out. Janos put something up there. So, anyway, I guess the best thing to do is to chart patterns, inverted cup, and handle and examples. Oh, cool. By Dukascopy. Very interesting. So I would say either one of them, but you know, beans might be ready to go. I mean, old crop was 16. Are they going to catch up? I think there's a good chance they could. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, you're seeing it. We've seen July old crop corn go exploding up like a 12% move in a day. And then we've seen, then what do you see? The next one we saw was, was it wheat? Yeah, we've seen wheat start to turn up out of nowhere. I think red wheat, what's red wheat? Is it in the $7 area now? But it was a $7 product in the old crop. But we're seeing new crop, the markets are lifting from it. Let's see, where is it at? Kansas City wheat. Let me see if I can find my Kansas City wheat. Where did I put my Kansas City wheat? KC wheat. Where's Kansas City wheat? There it is right there, the SEP wheat. It's in a weekly buy, and it's run up to the 680 area and backed off a little bit. And then you can see here, it was up almost to 750. I don't know. Let's put it this way, traders. This world is starved. That's what it really comes down to. Starved in places to put money. All right, we're out of here. Doc from North America, a little long, but you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our Dukascopy trading friends. Ta-ta for now.